network, we have been growing, and I can tell you we just added our 128th country. We're now in 128 country, and the last country that joined us was Northern Macedonia, I think it's called, North Macedonia. We also just yesterday, officially, the government of Montenegro joined us as the Ministry of Tourism as a new destination member. So welcome. And we're going to have another session on Montenegro. Also, before we start, just a few greetings. We had the Honorable Minister from Jamaica, Edward Bartlett, wanted to join us, and he had to cancel the last minute because of another engagement, but he said hello. And so it's also Sharon, the head of tourism from Seychelles, wanted to join us. She's currently in Dubai traveling and didn't have access to the internet. She's on the road, but she also says hello. And we're going to have another session on Seychelles coming up in the beginning of the year. Now, since we do have a really full program, I just wanted to give Dr. Peter Tarlow, our co-host and also co-host of our breaking news show, the microphone for just a few minutes, and then we can get going. Peter, the world is yours.
Thank you, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. I'm going to keep my remarks also to 3 minutes. And I think when anybody speaks, please say what country you're from, so we'll get to know that. I'm from the United States. I'm from Texas, which is almost a country in itself. This has been a really exciting year in the United States. On some levels, it reflects a very famous work of art from British literature, which is A Tale of Two Cities, in which the book begins with, "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times." And I think the year 2022 was kind of that. We started off with some still difficulties from COVID. We ended up with a wonderful, successful year as far as travel goes. On the other hand, we had a terrible snowstorm in the northern part of the United States, which knocked out one of our main airlines, which was Southwest Airlines. And there's still 2,700 flights that have been abandoned, and people don't know where their luggage is all around the country. So there's great and there's not so great. But on the other hand, I think we can end with a positive note or looking towards 2023, and that is that tourism in the United States will be coming back. Yes, there are some problems, but I think the urge to travel is tremendous. People want to travel. They're going to be traveling. And we're going to be seeing travel not only by the airlines, but also on cruise ships and lots of travel by car in the United States. People are really taking road trips. It used to be you wouldn't travel more than 3 or 4 hours from your home. Now we're seeing people travel 5, 6, 7, or 8 hours from their home. And that's changing lots of ways that travel is taking place in this country. So I'm very optimistic. I'm really happy to see all of you. And I don't want to take up any more time than it's necessary, but I just want to wish everybody a very happy new year. Let's hope that 2023 is filled with health, happiness, love, caring, and peace around the world.
Thank you, Peter, much appreciated. And I see many more of our friends joining us. And we also understand this might be a long session because I don't really want to cut people off, but on the other hand, we would love for everyone to stay, but if you can't, because I know we have people joining us from time zones where it's in the middle of the night, and I'm trying to get some of the people who are in Asia first, so because I know it gets really late. And also we're going to give a priority, of course, to sitting ministers, and we have one minister joining us. I will introduce in a minute, but let's first go down the list. We have a list of 32 people that signed up as speakers. We have another 8 on standby. We may not be able to take everyone, but I'm trying to do my best. And as I say, if you have to leave and come back, this is going to be archived. You can always watch us also at a later time. It's going to be repeating the entire session on eTurbo News for the next 2 days. But without further delay, our friend and I would say who has been here for us from the very beginning since we started our rebuilding travel discussion is no others than Dr. Taleb Rifai. I don't think we really need to introduce and tell you that he's a 2-time Secretary General for the World Tourism Organization, and he's joining us from Jordan. Again, Taleb, thank you so much for welcoming me to your home a few weeks ago when I was in Jordan. I really enjoyed it, and you have a wonderful home. And I can actually see the background now since I've seen it with my own eyes. But welcome, Taleb.
Thank you so much for this kind introduction, Jürgen and Peter. I must welcome both of you.
Thank you.
I see many friends around here. I don't want to waste my time in mentioning them, but please, my good friends, Deepak, Jeffrey, Walter, and all the rest, please pay attention to what I'm saying here. I'm saying the following. We have had a good year in eventuality, but this good year cannot continue like this forever because we have not gotten over COVID yet. I mean, look at China. China is a very good example of what we're passing through. China's now imposing new restrictions on travelers, and the Chinese travelers are very important to the world of today. China is also limiting people coming to China, and they wanted to come to China. Now, this does not mean that we are not doing well. Of course, we are doing well, as both Peter and Jürgen said, but we're doing well only because we decided suddenly, without any pre-preparation of this. The governments decided that they would like to lift the restrictions, and people responded to that very positively. And now we have to prepare ourselves for a setback. I'm afraid that's going to be the case. I'm sorry to say this, but I'm not very optimistic about the very near future. Not 2013, not 2023, not 2024. I think these are going to be very critical years. We have to be very careful about them. Now, during COVID, we had governments working on their own. That was the problem. Each government was doing a good job on its own. They would not work with each other, which is a failure of the multilateral system, I would say. The UN system, the EU system, even American system. The states were not united anymore. Each state had its own regulation. In Europe, you had many systems that operated COVID-19. For example, you would go to Europe, and you would find a country that insists on quarantine, and another country next to it, which is okay with just having a certificate, and a third country that's okay with having you being vaccinated even before you come or when you arrive. So all these have confused the people who are hesitant to travel. I'm afraid that this is not going to be lifted very easily. I'm sorry to say this, Jürgen and Peter, but I am not very optimistic about the very good future, not until China recovers. And China is not recovering very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Taleb. And yes, of course, we all know when China has a cold, the world better be careful. And I understand this, but especially coming out of COVID, after 2 years, there is a sense of optimism. And I guess that's, so let's see where it all goes. Thank you very much. I wanted to introduce the Honorable Moses Vilakati, who's joining us right now, and wanted to say a few words. The Minister Vilakati is the minister from a very unique country. It's called the Kingdom of Eswatini, what is also the
headquarters of ATB.
Yes, it was also it's also the home of the world of the African tourism now. The Minister Vilakati has been a friend and with us from the very beginning, from the time actually when I was involved starting the African Tourism Board. And I know our lunch very well. We had in South Africa on the sideline of the World Travel Market. And thank you so much for your loyalty, and tell us a little bit more about your country, what used to be actually, or is for many still known as Swaziland. And thank you so much for joining us, Minister. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Johan, and good evening to all of my friends here. And I won't mention all of them, but it's always great to see your faces and to see that we have survived some of these calamities. Obviously, well, you want me to say a little bit about the Swatini. Eswatini used to be called Swaziland before. And when we got to 50 years of independence, then we changed it to Eswatini, from Swaziland to Eswatini. That's the original name. The other countries had changed their names earlier. So we went back to our roots. But coming back to today's session, I'm very excited that we have been able to reach this far with Johan, with Cuthbert, with a number of you, Taleb, etc. It has been a very, very good journey. Obviously, it had its turbulence. The COVID affected us all tremendously. But one of the things that we kept on saying about tourism is that it is resilient and it can easily change to its previous status. We're already seeing that in terms of the visitations, the tourists that are coming to Eswatini and even to Southern Africa. So it shows that if we work hard, work together, tourism can actually change the dynamics that we have seen. Most of the hotels that were affected by the COVID, which were shut down, which were not functioning, are now starting to function. And I'm happy to report that the tourism industry has already regained its strength. It's getting much, much closer to the 2019 status. And we are very, very excited about that. And we hope that the whole world can now have a COVID-free, conflict-free, so that at the end of the day, the tourists can enjoy the movements from one place to the next. Obviously, what we see in America, the issue of climate change, it's a concern because it means the free movement of people is now affected. But let me end by saying, I think COVID has taught us that as we live, as we survive, there is going to be a calamity. And we need to prepare earlier so that if it comes, it doesn't hit us like it did during the past 2 years. I think I will remember always telling us that let's be thinking hard about issues that can affect tourism, be they security, be they safety, be they diseases. And I think that's one of the issues that we need to deliberate on when we get to 2023. Otherwise, Merry Christmas, belated as it might be, and a happy 2023. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
very
much, Minister.
Much appreciate your time and your support throughout the year. I wanted to welcome also another good friend, Deepak Joshi. He's actually joining us from Nepal. Namaste. I think it's past midnight. Thank you for staying up. You look really fresh. Maybe you must be a night person.
Thank you very much. Hello, namaste. Thank you very much,
Namaste.
respected chair, Yogan, Peter, the most respected personality in our tourism industry, Dr. Rifai, and so many good friends who have joined from all over the world. Very warm namaste from Nepal. Just to briefly highlight, Nepal is recovering quite well in tourism. Probably before COVID, 2019 was the best year in tourism in Nepal. In 2020, our tourism was down by 81%. I mean, the tourist arrival. In 2021, it was even worse. It was down by nearly 90%. But in 2022, we achieved the 60% growth compared to last year, which is still 40% down to what it was in normal period. But since last few months, we are equal to before COVID time in terms of employment creation and the arrival numbers. There are a few good news also, though there are few cases are growing in few cities in India and in China. But yesterday only China has announced that from January 8, they will be relaxing few rules like no quarantine for incoming travelers, the visitors who has 48 hours of negative test of PCR, they can travel to China, something like that. So we hope, let's hope that China also rebuilds its tourism faster, maybe within 2023. Today only I arrived in India, and India also there is almost the fear cycles is totally nil, and the confidence among travelers is so high. So in Nepal also we have achieved a very good number. Every time when crisis comes, it gives a very good chance or challenge to test its resilience. And always we have proven that the tourism industry has proven its resilience. And in this crisis also, most of the destinations are recovering quite well, especially in South Asia. For example, Maldives is doing very good. Sri Lanka is doing good now. So in the whole region, there is a very good confidence among the tourism stakeholders, hoping that from 23 onwards, it will be certainly good. 2022 was a year of survival. We survived, and 23 will certainly be the year of revival. That's what we are hopeful. And one thing I would like to suggest that this time also, we witness that one crisis is temporary, but the crises are permanent. So we always have to be ready, manage our preparedness, and build our resilience so that we can we can recover faster. With these words, I would like to wish Happy New Year to all the friends. Let's hope better results in terms of rival, in terms of yield, in terms of creation of jobs, more sustainable business practices. Let's adopt in 2023, more responsible behaviors that we need to continue with. We are always together, and we will always be together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Navaste.
Deepak, thank you so much. Welcome, Dr. Walter Memzebi. Walter also doesn't need much of an introduction. He was the former foreign minister for Zimbabwe and was one of the most influential and longest serving tourism ministers in Africa. He now lives in South Africa, I believe, or in Eswatini. I'm not sure where you live, but Walter, welcome for taking the time.
Thank you, Jürgen. Merry Christmas, a belated Merry Christmas to all of you. I am in South Africa, in Pretoria. That's where I'm based. I do travel often, of course, to Eswatini, but principally my residency is here in Pretoria. An observation on what I may suggest as an outsider on what I think should be thematic areas for tourism, because there's evident failure, like Taleb said, of multilateralism post-COVID, where nation states were doing their own thing. And I think then there's an extension of that, which is finding itself in the industry. And I think going forward, maybe multilateralism, the functioning of institutions like UN, WTO, the Africa Union, SADC, I think it would help to grow the industry at our level for all the regions than the ping pong that sometimes takes place when beating cover. So I would emphasize a thematic area around resetting multilateralism going forward. And if you think it's a joke, a few months ago here in South Africa, we saw the United States unilaterally announce a travel advisory in the busiest tourism area of South Africa, in Sandton, without consulting the South African government. And it became a hot issue because it was done unilaterally, just to emphasize the issue of the failure of multilateralism. It became a diplomatic standoff issue, but it is just an example of what can happen if we don't emphasize that area. I personally would like to see more work done around the area of climate change, in the area of impact, adaptation, and vulnerability. Right now, serious energy crisis in Southern Africa, a result of hydroelectric power generation recession along the Zambezi on Lake Kariba. It is directly a result of climate change. We have just come back from COP 27, and these issues were never highlighted at COP in a concerted manner that would almost highlight the impact on the industry. So tourism and biodiversity then fails, ecosystems fail, but even more importantly, we see serious energy deficits which are impacting on the energy sector. And finally, I think we should continue to advocate for peace as a successful precedent for successful tourism. The Russia-Ukraine war has had its own fallouts and the rearrangement of geopolitical alliances. We cannot ignore that. I think we need to use tourism to advance peace between nations. So those are the 3 areas that perhaps I would want to see in 2023 being highlighted as themes for elderly groups like this. I don't think we're meeting just by coincidence. We're meeting because we are seeing that the sector globally needs to be provided with leadership. And from this, we can distill areas that can continue to convene us and around which we can continue to resolve issues around the sector. Thank you very much. And
Thank
best
you.
wishes for 2020.
Thank you so much. And you're so honored when it comes to trade warning. It's an issue, it's not new, but becomes even more important if you wanted to operate during the crisis. Actually. Thank you very much, Walter. I want to say hello to my good friend. I think we're getting.
Jürgen, there's a problem on the audio.
Okay, I think I got to the bottom of it, but I wanted to introduce Dr. Alexander Gardicevic, and she doesn't also need a real introduction on this group because she's been with us almost every session throughout the COVID crisis. She's the director of tourism for the government of Montenegro, and actually her government just joined us yesterday as a full destination member. Welcome, and we're really happy to see your minister and Ministry of Tourism joining our efforts at the World Tourism Network. And Alexander is also one of the most hardworking people I know. And actually, we had a chance to finally meet in person in Montenegro, what was wonderful. And I was able to see your beautiful country. And I spent 4 days, and it was just stunning. I mean, it's a place you really never want to leave because it's just so beautiful. But thank you very much, and also congratulations to your achievement. You know, Dr. Alexander Gardicev, and I almost forgot to mention this in our list here, but you are a doctor. Thank you very much. You're muted, Alexander.
You're muted.
Yes. Please unmute yourself. You're still muted. No, there we go. Okay.
Okay, good. So thank you. I would like to greet everybody from Montenegro, from a small but beautiful country, as Jürgen just has said.
Very beautiful.
Thank you, Mr. Taleb. And it was a real pleasure meeting Jürgen in person. And when I saw him, we met on the coast, and when I saw him, I just hugged him like, you know, we know each other for ages. This is how I felt, and I really feel so close to him and to all the members of WTN. So we also became, as Jürgen mentioned, we also became member, the Ministry of Economic Development and Tourism became a member of WTN, and I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud, actually, that my country is on board. So Jürgen and myself managed to bring in my country from the highest tourism level, which is good. So just shortly, briefly, actually, I would say that this year was a very great regarding tourism achievements. We are at about 95% achievement comparing to 2019. However, we are taking new road, we are going to develop tourism. We are developing tourism in a new way. We at the beginning of the year, we adopted strategy of tourism of Montenegro up to 25th. And our vision is to make Montenegro globally recognized as a destination. So we are going and already started developing destination in a sustainable way, taking care of nature, of local citizens, and of course of tourists. And I like Mr. Taleb saying once, he mentioned only happy hosts make tourists happy. So this is what we are trying to do in Montenegro, actually to increase level of happiness of locals in order to create better working and living environment for them and also for tourists at the same time. I would also like to mention that the structure of our markets has changed a lot, and this year and the previous year, actually after COVID, we are dominantly having tourists from Western Balkan, but in the strategy we are actually through the strategy we are going to focus more and better on European markets, which used to be our traditional markets before COVID. So we are going back to European markets, hopefully. Also, I would like to mention that Montenegro became home for many digital tourists during this and last year, and we are also targeting in this period new category of tourists called energy tourists coming from European countries which are facing problems, energy problems, and whose citizens actually are looking for countries with a better climate. So we have many of energy tourists here as well. We have so many great plans for 2023, and we are going to focus on sustainable tourism. We are going to show the world that we are not only sun and sea destination as we are recognized as such, but we are also developing our rural tourism as we have really beautiful nature. So that would be about it. I would just also like to share the latest information with you. In April this year, we are going to organize International Tourism Conference, and soon we will send out invitations, and all the members of WTN are invited, and I hope that we will see most of them here in Montenegro in April next year. So here I am, and we'll talk later. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you very much, Alexandra.
Thank you.
I'm trying to actually get our friend Cuthbert in the spotlight, but Cuthbert, if you can maybe turn your camera on, we can feature you here. In the meantime, great. So we're going to put this on our calendar once you have your conference. And also, we actually are already very excited. Just last night, we fixed our official dates for our World Tourism Global Conference, what will actually be 5 events in one. So we're going to have an event for cultural regions of the world. We're going to have an event on climate change issues, on small businesses. We're going to try to organize one of the largest fam trips ever in Indonesia. So there's going to be a lot of exciting sectors of what we do at World Tourism Network appear at our conference in Bali, what will happen from the 28th of September to the 1st of October. I wanted to, without further delay, welcome Cuthbert Nikubi. And of course, Cuthbert, everyone knows, is the chairman of the African Tourism Board, now based in Eswatini. And he's joining us today. Thank you very much, Cuthbert, for joining us. It was great meeting you at the World Travel Market in London earlier this year. And as I said earlier, you look young today, so maybe there's some secret. Tell me, how did you do that?
Yes, I would like to suggest that if this hat makes people look younger, this could be a major export item and could be a
That's right. That's right. Very true.
This may be a whole new form of tourism that no one's ever thought about, which is youth tourism for old people.
Yeah.
For that, Doc, we really appreciate. Again, thank you so much. We really appreciate that you have kept us together within the tourism space, encouraging us and giving us hope where there is so much despair, especially looking at where we're coming from. As much as I concur with Dr. Taleb to say, look, we're still going to expect quite a lot of challenges, especially within our traveling space, travel tourism. But notable when we were in London during the World Tourism Market, I mean, after 3 decades of a break, meeting together, but the convergence of so many demonstrated that yes, tourism, as Dr. Mzembe has indicated, that it's one of the resilience sectors we have, and we just completed the Rwanda Tourism Week. I mean, a few weeks ago, and so forth, where we have also noted that most of the African countries, they are really eager to say, how do we move together? We have seen a collaborative spirit, which we really appreciate, and we need to keep the momentum. And as we are approaching 2023, I totally believe that there is quite a lot for us in store. Yes, the pandemics, they are not going to caught us by surprise. We are now prepared. We need to be prepared, but we need to see a well-coordinated approach across the sector so that we'll be able to stand together and promote tourism, to say our destinations, especially my drive and my love to say, how do we align our 7 continents so that we start appreciating one another, we start promoting our diversity in terms of culture, start promoting our diversity in terms of places of interest. Yes, colleagues, we have so much to offer, and I would also want to say to my colleagues, Dr. Mzembe, Peter, Dr. Taleb, Yegen, you are instrumental, you have been instrumental in the tourism space, especially in the reshape of the African Tourism Board. Maybe to heighten, Yegen, to say these are, organs that work hand in hand, gloves in glove together to reshape our tourism sector. I really appreciate, and I wish all of us a very progressive 2023, successful 2023. Colleagues, there is a lot in store for us. Let's create mechanisms on saying, how do we navigate around the challenges and how do we support one another? May we all have a blessed 2023. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Cuthbert. Thank you, Cuthbert.
Thank you, Doc.
Much appreciated. I'm glad things are looking better than a year ago. So I see the palm trees behind you. They indicate we're going to have some blue skies. So that's wonderful. I wanted to really, again, the gentleman we don't really have to introduce very much. It's Professor Lipman joining us from Brussels in Belgium. Jeffrey and I, we have been friends for longer than we really wanted to admit. He was the first CEO, I believe, of the World Travel and Tourism Council. He was the Assistant Secretary General for UNWTO. He was with IATA. He now runs an organization, SunX. He was president or is president of our ICP and involved in so many different projects and had contributed so much to this industry over the years. So I'm proud to have you as a friend, and thank you so much for taking the time to attend our New Year's event today, Jeffrey. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Thomas, and season's greetings to everybody on the call. Every time you introduce me, I want to say that one of the great things about having been involved in this sector for 55 years now is the people that you meet and the friendships that you make. And I don't have any that have been as strong as yours, Thomas, and as good as the one Taleb and I had working together for many years. So it's a pleasure to be with you. And that's the good stuff. Now, let me give you my usual refrain for the past 3 years on all of your calls. Climate change is getting worse. It's here and it is existential. I don't want to bore you with what you know, but the floods in Pakistan, this deep, deep cold in the US, and the heat in Europe, fires in Australia, these are all exceptional extreme weather issues. And we know that tourism patterns have historically been based on weather. So get ready for increasing, intensifying extreme weather events, huge costs, deaths, and things which, will hit tourism. And let me say, we've had our share of declarations and reports over the past 12 months. There's a kind of new set of coalitions between the biggest consultancies and the biggest trade organizations, or alphabet organizations, as I call them. And they're pretty much all saying the same thing. We will change and we will reduce our emissions for net zero in 2050. And my comment today is net zero 2050 just self-delusion? Is it really going to be a change that will make a difference as the rest of the world is having to change, and as governments again at the COP this year are re-emphasizing? What the IPCC says, and they are the real authority on this issue, is if we don't peak emissions by 2025, we will not hit even 2 degrees. And there is not one report from one of the big organizations, IATA, WTTC, that even talks about peaking in 2025. Why? Because that's really hard to do. That means making massive changes. So for us at Sunex Malta, we see 2025 as a kind of stress test, like the banks have stress tests. There are those who will act and those who will talk and basically be greenwashing. So I want to close by saying that we've been talking, Thomas and I, and next year we're going to host a set of awards. We're going to do it at this time next year, end of the year, and we're going to call them the Strong Arc Awards, focusing on people who are seriously trying to peak their emissions by 2025. And why the arc? And it's good for this time of the year because Noah built an ark. And everybody said, this is hysterical, you don't need to do it. But every religion on the planet, and also the science says, there was a great flood and somehow we survived through it. And we are facing that kind of situations. So these will be awards for destinations and companies nominated by their peers and by travelers, and they'll be managed by Sunex and ICTP and supported by WTN. So 12 months from today, that's a message. I believe this is a message of concern, of fear, and of hope. Our kids' future is in our hands. We can either talk or we can act. And that's what I've got to say. Sorry, I know it's, I'm never saying anything cheerful on your comment, on your sessions, Thomas, but this is serious stuff.
No, I fully agree with you, Jeffrey, and you have been instrumental to keep this world informed and act, actually, one of the few people who really do something against the threat of climate change, what is a real threat, and we can see it anywhere. Thank you so much for attending. Hopefully, like we did last year, we're going to have many more discussions and sessions on our breaking news show or any of our platforms, and we're looking forward working with you on this new initiative and the award. I wanted to welcome also a supporter, and she leads our honeymoon and destination wedding interest group. It's Nancy Barclay. She's joins us from the US East Coast. And are you snowed in, or you're okay, Nancy?
We're thawing out here. It has been really, really cold. Nice to see
It's been
everybody.
all over the world, all over the world.
I know. What is going on? Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everyone.
Same
Happy
to
New
you.
Year. So how's everything? Give us your take on 2022 and 2023.
You know what? So wedding tourism, from my perspective, and here in the US, it is really going well for 2023 and beyond. Wedding tourism really contributes a lot to the global tourism industry. I know a lot of people just think of wedding tourism as, destination weddings, but it also includes elopements and honeymoons and engagements, and it's global. The destination weddings that I'm planning right now are the Caribbean, Mexico, all over Europe. The honeymoons, we're going to the Maldives, we're going to South Africa, we're going everywhere. So even if you just take one honeymoon and how much it contributes local to the economy with everyone it's supporting there, and then destination weddings even more so because of all the local vendors that you're employing while you're doing a destination wedding. Also, I'm happy to say that sustainability is really coming through in destination weddings. A lot of the brides and grooms are looking to see how they can keep their wedding sustainable and contribute charitable to, that's another thing that's going, or they're looking for charitable ways to contribute to the destinations that they're in. So I have a positive outlook. We really do here in the US for destination weddings and honeymoons and elopements. Things are going good, unless you're flying on Southwest.
Thank you, Nancy. And we should have another session next year and talk about destination weddings, maybe feature some of the destinations also that are within our member portfolio. And but just one quick question. Of course, COVID is now fading out, but are there still restrictions on weddings itself in overseas, or do you see this is all kind of going along with the rest of tourism in welcoming people back also in groups and so forth?
Yeah, no, it's falling in line. Everywhere that we're going now, the restrictions seem to be lifted in the Caribbean, Mexico, the parts of Europe that we're doing them. So I think everything's falling in line. We're really optimistic, and it's so nice to see everybody on this panel because, honeymoons are popular in almost every destination that I see people that are in. So it's good to have connections.
Thank you very much, Nancy. I wanted to give the microphone to Hakim Ali, and I don't think he has a microphone, so I'm not sure. I don't see him, but if you do, please unmute yourself and you can maybe turn your camera on. Hakim is running our chapter in Bangladesh, and actually Bangladesh has been quite active within WTN and had a number of events under the WTN flag. So I wanted to thank you for this, and actually also showed this presence at the World Travel Market when I met some of our WTN members from our chapter in Bangladesh. And chapters is really the way to go. So we're going to introduce more chapters, like our chapter in Indonesia has been extremely active. We actually now have an office in Bali with 4 full-time employees, believe it or not, working on our conference in September. Talib, you raised your hand. I don't know if you wanted to say something or if this was a coincidence.
Yes, please. I want to say something here. because I did feel that I did go overboard a little bit. I know that each country is doing very well on its own, and each country is doing very well in 2022. Even Jordan here, where I'm living, we're almost at the average of 2019, almost there. So that's the fact. But the other fact is what Jeffrey said. The fact is that climate change and COVID have the same characteristics together. They both don't recognize borders, and they both need cooperation from governments to work together. What I'm trying to say here is please, please, let your governments work together. First with your neighbors, and then regional, then international. Without that, we will never be able to be resilient as we should be. Because resilience means to learn from your mistakes. It doesn't mean that you can just depend on us being resilient. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you very much, Taleb. I think Hakim may have a technical issue because I don't see him. I see him here, but I don't see a microphone. So he may not have a microphone. But anyways, Hakim, thank you very much. I'm sure you hear us, for your work and for your support for World Tourism Network in Bangladesh. And we're here to whenever you need us. I wanted to give the spotlight to Mary Costello, I believe, in the UK. You asked to say something, and as what I can see, you are publishing the Costello report. Tell us more about it. Please unmute yourself, Mary.
Hello, Jürgen. Thanks, everybody. I'm thrilled to be here. Now, yes, I publish a monthly newsletter, Costello Report. I do one or two other things, as some of you know, but Costello Report is really aimed at those who are providing for high-end travelers, for the luxury segment. I hate the word luxury. But these are people who bring in masses of money. The amount of money that a high-end traveler brings to the destination is much more than 90% of travelers. I don't have the exact figures. I am seeing increasing separation between those people who are spending oodles of money and want total privacy, and the rest of the travelers. And it's worrying to me. I would like more interaction. And I wondered whether any of the other people in on this global network had noticed this, that the travelers who are spending the most money are more and more wanting privacy and to keep out of the public eye. That's all I have to say. And I'd love for anyone who has any comments on that to contact me, which they can do very easily. Costello, that's my name, GOSTELOW@AOL.com. Thank you so much, and I hope I haven't overstayed my time. Thank you.
Mary, please put your address also in the notes so people can just copy it.
Yeah, and of course we can have another discussion maybe next year. Just contact me on this subject. Seems to be an interesting subject to discuss. And yes, luxury travel is important. I agree. And it has certain requirements to make it profitable. Now, I wanted to give the microphone to Robert Lancor. I think you're joining us from Switzerland, right?
Hi, Robert.
Hey.
Hi, Taleb.
Hi.
Yes, thank you very much, Jürgen. Thank you, Peter. Hi, Taleb. My other friend, as Geoffrey. I am very pleased to talk from Cordoba, Spain. Well, I will be short. I just want to say that Spain is going very well. I prepare a small paper saying that, they expect that in 2023 have even better results than in 2019 and 2017 and 2019. But we have the problem, and that is a problem over the world of over-tourism. And they will try to find solutions, especially in cities such as Malaga, Sevilla, Barcelona. Well, in Barcelona, they have found, they have taken some measures to fight this over-tourism, which create a conflict between the tourist and the local population. In Madrid, it is quite different. But that is not the most important in Spain. In Spain, they are working really as the second leading tourist brand in the world. They are working on digitalization, on artificial intelligence, and on this technology. You know, we have in this country a state company, a state enterprise, Segitur, which is really working very, very well on this issue and for the management of innovation and tourism technology. And now Spain is aiding a smart destination project. They call that a pioneering international initiative for a new model of governance and co-responsibility of tourism destination. And I want to finish with only one word on a good company which received a lot of prize this year, you know, Hotelverse. Hotelverse is a kind of a revolutionary concept which redefined the client purchasing experience, allowing the customer an aerial view of the hotel, giving them the opportunity to explore its facility and to choose the room that perfectly suits them and to book it. And my last word is about climate. I agree with everyone concerning this issue. Is the most important issue. I am working on a book with my friend Jawed Sangel concerning the climate urgency, governance, and leadership. And I will be very pleased in the next few months to talk about this issue for tourism. You know, it is very important, and I fully agree with Geoffrey that that will be our main issue in the next few years. Thank you very much, and Happy New Year.
Thank
From
Jürgen, if I could just brag a little bit about Robert. He just published a series of books on tourism across the Mediterranean. I won't go into the detail, but it's a two-series book. If you read French, it's really worthwhile getting. It will be coming out soon in both Spanish and eventually in English. So,
but this book, Peter, thank you very much, Peter. This book now are in Spanish, and it will be published in the in the next few weeks in Spanish. And then also, I want to say that, you know, I was last October and the beginning of November in California to see my grandkids, and I discussed with a Californian publisher the fact that this book concerning the Silk Road will be published also in California. Thank you very much to all, and I was very pleased to listen to you.
Thank you very
my
much.
pleasure, and I wanted to give you a plug.
Thank you very much. And I wanted to say hello to another good friend, Wolfgang Hoffmann. We met actually also a few months ago in Düsseldorf, my old hometown. And Wolfgang is one of the leaders in the local SCORE club. And we also together actually went to a very interesting event organized by the city of Düsseldorf about medical tourism. And I'm probably, I can give my own testimony on this, and having received treatment on cardiologist and by a world-renowned cardiologist in Düsseldorf and other doctors. It is really a city where if you wanted to have qualified healthcare or preventive healthcare, it's really a city to go. And we hope to be able to also encourage Düsseldorf to attend our event in Bali, because we're planning to have some sessions on health tourism at our upcoming event in Bali. But Wolfgang is not joining us, from what I understand, from Düsseldorf now. He's actually in Mexico. And I'm glad you didn't fly. I know you flew United and not Southwest Airlines, so you might actually be able to get home again after your holidays. but thank you for joining us during your vacation, Wolfgang.
Thank you, Jürgen. It's very comfortable due to the 7 hours time difference. So it's 1 p.m. It's very convenient. Hello to everyone. I just want to mention we are glad that tourism recovered, even business travel, even MICE travel, the whole industry discovered at different levels, but it did recover. The demand is there. To fulfill and make money with all the uncertainties might not be easy. And I think the destinations play for the development of future a much bigger role than before, where there have been the big players like airlines and tour operators. We are developing products, but I think the destinations really have to play a very important role to modernize their product, to digitalize their product, to make it cutting down with border problems, etc. I highly appreciate the African movement because my experience as a tour operator, a lifelong tour operator, if the area sells, every participant in the destination will benefit from it. We will have challenges to come, so we have to be more flexible than before. And so we have to be prepared for all sorts of challenging from the political side, which we cannot control yet, because I think we have a global strain, global political strain, which was started with the Ukraine-Russia war. The cat of the house is visiting me always when I'm at the computer. And these things are beyond our control. We just have to be prepared to meet these challenges. All the best to all of you. Have a good 2023 and keep up and positive. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wolfgang. But tell us just for a second, where are you right now?
I'm in Puebla. I'm in Puebla, where the family of my wife lives, and we were also hit by the cold front with dropping temperatures and lots of rain. But today is a beautiful sunshine and it's warming up again.
Perfect. Okay, well, from Mexico, we're going to Niger in Africa. It's in northern Central Africa, I believe. And if you can hear us, we have Isufu, I probably pronounced your name wrong, Adamu joining us. He said he wanted to say a few words, and we would love to hear from you because you're from a destination not many people know about. I know you're unmuted now. Can you start your video and unmute yourself? Maybe there are some challenges on your end. Okay. Well, I tell you what. There we go. Okay. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. So you heard? Hello, everyone.
Hear you.
Hello.
My name is Adamu Hassan Isufu. I am the president of an NGO named Tourism and Local Development, Niger. Niger is a West African country near Nigeria. Right. In my country, there is many years in my country that tourism activities was very impacted by the security situation of Sahelian countries. But we have committed to re-engage the development of the tourism sector.
Okay, sorry about that. There was someone else talking in between. Sorry, but we hear you, Isufu.
Okay. We have a new NGO. It is a small NGO that work to revival the tourism sector in Niger. Yes. That is why I'm going to say, don't know. I'm very glad to be here, and I wish everyone a happy new year.
Happy New Year to you also, and keep us informed. As I said, it's a country I'm not personally not very familiar with. I've never traveled there, and so we like to learn more about your challenges and what you're planning to do in the development for tourism. So let's stay in touch, and thanks for being a member for the World Tourism Network, and also all the best for 2023. We want to go to Serbia, and we have Professor Snow White or Snežana Stetic. And again, I wanted to thank her because we met about a month or so ago in Belgrade, and she really gave me a good tour in Belgrade in her personal car. We drove around, we saw houseboats on the river, new tourist developments. We met some of the top tourism officials in the city, and Professor Snežana organized this all, and I stayed at the wonderful Hyatt Hotel for 2 nights, and really had a good time and learned a lot about Belgrade. What a vibrant city, and so reasonable to travel to, and the food is excellent. So you're very fortunate to live in a city like this. But welcome on board. She actually has been running our educational interest group ever since we started, and has been on many of our events. And Professor Snežana, how's everything going in Belgrade these days?
Good evening, everyone from Belgrade, Serbia. It's beautiful weather here. Normally, we used to have a -5 centigrade or 10 centigrade, which is normal for Serbia, but nowadays we have +15. So you can see that climate really changed a lot. According to tourism, we are very satisfied because tourism is really blooming. According to 2020, nowadays we are nearly to results of 2019, which is very, very good. And we have a lot of international tourists coming from different parts of the world. IT nomads are coming also. And it is really very interesting because people like to come. As you said, it's very reasonable, prices are good, food is excellent, people are very friendly, and because of that, maybe tourists like to come here. We were doing a lot of things in tourism this year and the last year as well, but this year, something which you maybe don't know, it is that we made some kind of open frontiers between Serbia, Albania, and North Macedonia. So we don't need passports when we are traveling, when we cross the border of these 3 countries. And it is very important for tourism as well, because a lot of tourists are going between these 3 countries. Also, very big, very good festival of wine was here in Belgrade in September. Nearly 75 different wineries from 32 countries were in Belgrade. And the next very big festival, Without Frontiers, between Serbia, North Macedonia, and Albania, is going to be in Albania in 2020. So many new things are going on here, and I really like you to come and to see this city and this country. And many times I used to say Serbia is a continental country, we don't have any sea, but we have a lot of very interesting rivers, and the cruising along the Danube is very, very popular. For example, in 2019, we have, let's say, something about more than 200 ships cruising around, but in 2023, they're saying that more than 500 ships are going to cruise around the Danube. It will be a really traffic jam, but believe me, people like to travel around the Danube River, and the Belgrade is Belgrade and Novi Sad as well are high spots for these travelers who are going to through the Danube River. Also, very interesting is that we have a special kind of a pig, as you said, without cholesterol. So you can come, if you eat pig meat, you can come to Serbia, you can eat meat and all products from this special kind of a pig, because there is no cholesterol in that meat and the products. And Jürgen didn't believe me, but you tried it and you can say that it's very good, isn't it?
It's very good. I mean, the food is excellent in your country, I have to say, whatever, and it's all natural. You don't use all these chemicals we use here in the United States many times. It's really healthy food. It's a good place to go. And I know I had a discussion with your head of the tourism board on this new initiative with North Macedonia and Albania. I think it's wonderful. And I know that there are efforts in place also to include Bosnia, Herzegovina and Montenegro into this group, what would be good. I actually had a chance to drive through Bosnia, Herzegovina and it's a beautiful country, untouched in many parts for tourism, a lot of opportunities. I know USAID is there in developing tourism in this region. And when I talked to my uncle in California, who is from North Macedonia, he was thrilled to hear this initiative. So people are excited about this. Well, thank you very much, Professor Snisana. It's always a pleasure having you, and I hope I see you either here in Hawaii or again in Belgrade very soon. And I wanted to go from Serbia to, I don't know if he's in Egypt, but Hisham Zazu was the former Minister of Tourism for Egypt. I think last time we talked, he was actually in Germany. And I kind of, we didn't have you at planned, but when I saw you, I wanted to give the microphone for a minute to tell us how you're doing and how's the situation in your part of the world when it comes to tourism.
Hello, Hisham.
Hello, Jürgen. How are you? Thank you for inviting me in. And first, Happy New Year to everybody. And thank you for letting me in. Well, the situation in Egypt is quite okay. And well, you remember we had some turbulent years following our revolution, but now everything is politically stable, and the flow of tourism after the Corona time started. So things is building up. Our Nile that suffered a lot, you know, the business from the Nile suffered a lot for a couple of years, but now it's really picking up a lot. So things are moving in a good direction. So thank you very much for your question, and hope to see you all soon. We have a sunny weather in Egypt these days. Looking forward to have all of you coming over to Egypt soon. Thank you.
Definitely, we're going to do that. And,
excuse me.
Yes? Okay, I don't know, someone said something, but okay, in any case, I don't know, Birgit, if you have a chance, you had your camera on. And I wanted to give you a chance because you have always been so loyal to this group, and to just there we go. How are you, Birgit? You're in Germany.
Okay, hi everybody. Nice to see you again, Jürgen. And greetings to everyone, and Merry Christmas and prosperous 2023 to all of us. I'm still in Germany at the moment after spending a fair few months in Greece, and I'm heading off down under again to Australia, where I haven't been home for 3 years due to COVID. So tourism to me has a different flavor because I've been watching everything from different perspectives and listening to everyone again. I am concerned, very much like Jeffrey, about climate change and also the socio-cultural political agendas that we are facing. As much as we are very positive about tourism and having observed, the growth and the uptake of tourism again in Greece in particular, not to mention Spain again, there is a pent-up demand. There's no denying that. But I think the reality will remain that we will be challenged because of, again, what's happening in China with the COVID resurfacing and the political agendas. So my comment is, I suppose we can only remain as positive as we can be, because I have been involved in tourism also since about the late 70s, starting off the airline and then going through academia, back out again into consultancy and watching what goes on over 40 years or something like that. We can remain positive, and I hope for the sake of many, many people involved in travel and tourism that will be the case. So that's all I can say, Jürgen. Thank you very much again. I love to be present, as you know, in all of these discussions. And thank you very much for giving me a chance. And hello to everyone, and delighted to be here again and hearing all your comments. Thank you very much. And greetings to you, Talib. Much delighted to see you here again today.
Oh,
thank you very much, Talib.
Thank you very much. I wanted to, we had Rohantra Atkurala, I probably pronounced it completely wrong, asked to take the floor when you registered. I'm honestly don't know where exactly you're from and what you wanted to say, but I see you're here. So let me try to put you in slide. There you go. Also tell us a little bit more who you are and how is the situation where you are.
Thank you very much, and lovely coming in contact again, Jagan. I'm Dr. Rohanta Tukorala, former chairman of Sri Lanka Tourism. And before that, I was chairman of Sri Lanka Export Development Board. So been very much involved in the total export industry of the country. Very nice to hear the recovery happening across the world. End of the day, I think the most important human right for anybody is to travel. And that was deprived during COVID times. And we could see from different parts of the world, people moving out to experience once again the freedom of travel. So I think it's a fantastic feeling to know that everybody is feeling with the same challenges. Over in Sri Lanka, apart from recovery from COVID, we also had financial and crisis with regard to our balance of payment, and we are just about picking up. But the good news once again is that our product is very strong. The beautiful beaches ranked by National Geographic, the safaris, which actually has the highest density of leopard in any part of the world in a square kilometer of area. And of course, the beautiful Ceylon tea, which I think 60 million cups of tea is drunk everywhere. So what it actually means is that given that your product is strong, you can always recover. The third point I like to mention is that I really love this whole idea of environmental sustainability. And we recently had the global Rotary governor, Jennifer Jones, the first lady governor, coming to Sri Lanka, and she rang the stock exchange Ring for Environment and launched a whole project called the 1 Million Tree Stories Project, which is to plant 1 million trees and maintain it for 25 years. It's done by Rotary. And she brought in the sentiments from COP27 that was staged recently in Sharm el-Sheikh. And I think that agenda is very much aligned. The fourth point I'd like to share is that, I remember once when I was doing a lecture at the Colombo University, we talked about how Croatia, after 1995, how they built this whole concept of nation brand building. They looked at exports, they looked at tourism, they looked at the people dimension, they looked at culture, they looked at the whole hexagon of Simon Anholt, and they developed this beautiful whole nation brand building campaign. And today, this country is attracting almost 10 million people, and the exports are really strong. They have established, I think, diplomatic missions in almost 157 countries. And it just showed how you unleash the country's real talents by using the hexagon of Simon and Lawrence nation brand building. So I think Sri Lanka will also have to use that same. Our exports are very strong globally for apparel and tea. Tourism is strong. People have smiling faces, and I think we can use that same nation brand building concept. And we may be trying it out once again in Sri Lanka, and then subsequently maybe it could be a case study to the world. So greetings to everybody. Please, if you do have some time, drop down to Sri Lanka. It's a beautiful country, very compact. 3 hours, you can see the rest of the whole world. Authenticity and the diversity of the product that is there. Thank you very much, and greetings to everybody.
Thank you
It's a
very
beautiful country, I agree.
And
Beautiful.
I can agree this too. I have visited Sri Lanka many times. First time in the late 70s, I remember when I was a youngster and I didn't have a lot of money. I came on Sterling Airlines, went to Hikaduva where all the excitement was. And I loved the tea so much, but I didn't have enough money to buy. So I traded in jeans and towels for tea and came back home. So but I've been there many times after this. It's a beautiful place to visit. There's so much to do, and I always enjoyed staying at the Jetwing hotels.
Jetwing Hotel, yeah, that's right.
And, if Hiran is a good friend, he runs the
yes, former chairman of PATA.
Absolutely, I remember the Green Lung initiative from you guys had many years ago, and I talked in length with Renton Alvis when we drove to Switzerland to a conference. And so Sri Lanka has always been very conscious when it comes to environmental issues, and the tourism product is really great. Even when you leave, there is a coffee bean in the airport transit hall. I always enjoyed that because they really have good, and I'm an espresso fanatic, but the tea is better, I have to say that. Yes, thank you very much. I wanted to, before we can open this up for questions, I don't know, I see our friend David Bierman in Australia, and I know it's been a really early morning in Australia. On there, if you wanted to say a few words, if you do, just turn your camera on and your microphone, and we give you the floor for a minute. I don't know if this technical works on your end, but if not, what I like to do is to open up the floor for questions and for comments. All you can do is just, and we have a few more minutes. We're now an hour and a half into this event. It's 30 minutes overtime. That's pretty good for us. So we can give it a few more minutes. If anyone wanted to make any additional comments or has a question to any of these things that were said today, please do so. Just raise your hand. We give you the floor.
Jürgen? Hi, Jürgen?
Yes.
Hi, may I speak?
Sure, who's this?
Yeah, this is Harith Wickramer. I worked closely with Professor Jeffrey Lippman and also Peter Tarlow when I was teaching tourism and sustainable tourism and hospitality management at Temple University, and ran a global event incentive travel company that has won over 80 awards, and pioneering in the incentive travel industry sustainability as part of awards. But
Harry, it's great to see you.
Likewise, yes. Jürgen, I met you a couple of times with Jeffrey Lippman, but so nice to see you, and been with you since the early 2000s, I believe.
Yes.
So what I wanted to share is the US Virgin Islands did very well during the COVID because we were one of the only, if not few, Caribbean islands that was open for tourism. We had what is called vaccine tourism. We gave vaccines to anyone with no questions asked. As a result, our tourism was booming. And so the first 3 months, we had nothing. And when you go to the beaches and the ocean, you could see a pristine ocean with clear blue waters. Then after tourists start coming, the governor himself mentioned there's a brown sheen on top of the waters end of the day, or when the cruise ships come in, then when they leave. And that is a result of oxybenzone. and oxynoxate and oxycrylene, the toxic sunscreen. So we passed a law, just like Hawaii has done. We collaborated with Hawaii and Key West, working together, banning toxic sunscreen, and the Virgin Islands became the first in the United States to implement the law as of March 30th of 2020. And however, our tourism partners need to educate the public before they arrive into the islands, before they arrive into Hawaii, what they should not bring. Because when they bring it, they use it. But when we advise them, when they advise them, they say, wow, wish we knew it. So that's one area I believe all the tourism professionals can try to support and preserve our marine life and coral. As all of you know, coral is important to marine life, for diving, snorkeling. So it's a major part of tourism. So that's one of the points I want to make. Of course, there are many others, but sustainable tourism is the way to go. And we are hoping, I'm now part of an NGO called Island Green Living. And islandgreenliving.org is a website. And we have banned plastic straws, plastic bags in the Virgin Islands. When we mean the government, we were part of helping to write the legislation. And we are happy to share. We are open book. And Professor Lippman has helped me many, many times over. And so hats off to you and thank you, Jeffrey. And Jürgen, thank you for this wonderful auditorium for us to share our thoughts.
No, thank you.
Thank you for everything that you're doing, because you've been a very creative person.
Absolutely. David turned his microphone on, so I think you can speak. I cannot put, unless you have a camera, I cannot put you on the spotlight, but you're welcome to say a few words. David is in Australia. I know David also for many, many years. He used to run the Israel Tourism Board in Australia many, many years ago. And he's a consultant, and you tell us what you're doing, but he's been very active in travel and tourism for many years. David, welcome. Oh, I guess we lost him. He was kicked out. Okay. No problem. We have 4 people raising hands. So let's start with Demi. I'm going to put him on the spotlight. As far as I know, he's joining us from,
Senegal.
Senegal.
From Senegal.
Senegal, exactly.
Oh yeah, Jürgen. How are you, Jürgen?
Good. How are you doing?
I miss you. Season greeting for all of you. And a happy new year 2023.
Same with you.
Very happy to meet again Mr. Rifai. I always remember his election as the Secretary General of the UNWT in Senegal, and all our respect to Peter and Mr. Jürgen, the ATB chairman. Mr. Jürgen, I want to say that for this year, we have good news, or as we have also bad news. But I prefer to start by the good news. COVID-19 teach us how to be resilient, and it is not only during COVID period that we have to be resilient, but it should be a change of behavior based on the marketing and target, but also on environment, climate change, and training, which should be something to be managed by a real leadership. Every time, Jürgen, I have to remember my colleague that we are on time of actions, and action doesn't need too much talk. So we have not to give up with COVID-19. We think that COVID-19 is behind. No, never. Because if we think that COVID-19 is behind, it means that we drop our resilience. And we have to know and to understand that COVID-19 teaches us teach us how weak we are and how we have to learn more about our capacity to be more resilient. And the good things now for African and other countries is, to focus on domestic and sustainable tourism. They should be, our principal activities. And now the bad news is China. We know all that China is the key word of the tourism, of international tourism. So if something bad happened to China, all the rest of the tourism will be afraid. So as China also has to work on domestic tourism and sustainable. So this is, my recommendation for this end of this year, and what to say, my good heart to Mr. Rifai, to Mr. Lipman, those pioneer of the tourism, and to say Happy New Year's for my colleague 2023. Thank you very much, Jürgen.
Yeah, thank you, Demi, and thanks for always attending our events and being there, and follow your messages on our various WhatsApp groups we're sharing, and you're a real player in the tourism industry, important for Senegal and the rest of Africa and the world. And Happy New Year to you. And Sunny Matau raised the hand, so I put him in the spotlight. Tell us more who you are, where you're joining us from.
Hi, Jürgen. I believe you forgot that we had a discussion a couple of months back, and I literally spoke to you about technology, blockchain, and all kind of stuff. So no worries. Well, I'm from India, and yes, everybody is talking about China as in threat for the world tourism, and it's really fact. And we have seen that there was literally a disruption in tourism industry due to coronavirus. Yes, surprisingly, after upliftment of the lockdown from in India, we have seen a massive transaction of tourism. People were like, literally going everywhere in India, and tourism sector got blew up like anything before, especially Kashmir, which is the northern, very much north part of the India, and it is also known as Switzerland based in India. So Kashmir has seen quantum jump in tourism sector, but again due to this recent COVID fear, we are also speculating many things in India, and people have cancelled many their New Eve celebrations to other hill stations, which is literally affecting to the other parts of the India as well. And people are canceling their trips to other parts of the India in order to celebrate their New Year trips. Now let's see how it will affect furthermore. But yes, we can say that distress time and stressing period are, again, blessing in disguise. We should not celebrate this thing like this as well. But still, after these coronavirus and COVID stuff, we will definitely see massive change in tourism, and the reaction and the people behavior behind the tourism. This is my 50 cents, 2 cents in this part as in WTN. And thank you, Jürgen, for this kind of meetups, and I'm really feeling blessed to have a people like from across the world, and I'm enjoying this literally very much.
Has been our correspondent for eTurbo News in Uganda now for many years. You can read his articles, I think, almost every day. And thank you, Tony, for joining us. How's everything in Uganda?
Uganda is very fine. First of all, I would like to send my greetings to Professor Geoffrey Lipman, who's been facilitating our training on climate friendly travel, climate change, and tourism through the SANEX Institute. And this connection came through the World Tourism Network, and that goes back all the way to the early days. Remember when COVID was really at its height, then you can set up these kinds of conversations. And it was pretty lonely here, but our global community was brought together through our, isolation places. But online, we some of us had to learn how to get used to Zoom, to mute or switch off or on your camera without getting embarrassed. Yeah, but anyway, for Uganda, we've had our share of the climate change effects. There's been a lot of flooding. We're monitoring what's going on in USA. But for resilience, and I must say this, we did very well with managing the COVID. But as we were trying to recover, we got cases of Ebola in Uganda, fortunately, Uganda has got a history of managing all these zoonotic diseases, and we're seeing the back of it. There are lots of cancellations, but domestic tourism and tourism within the region has been very resilient. The only disadvantage for especially US tourists who did not mind traveling was that the USA only opened about five borders, the whole of USA, for tourists coming from Uganda. So that was a letdown. But like I said, with our resilience, we're going to see we hope to see the back of it. During the COVID, I would say the wildlife numbers, there were good things and bad things, because there was a bit of poaching of animals because the tourists were not there. I wanted to mention that recently, because Nancy Buckley had talked about honeymoon tourism. Recently, there was even someone proposed to his wife on Bentley were tracking the gorillas. I must look for that photo and welcome many people if they want to find a new way of tying the knot. They're welcome to do that. Thank you, and have a prosperous 2023.
Thank you very much, Tony. I don't know, David, if your microphone works. If you want to say anything, just jump in. If it doesn't work, Happy New Year to you. And other than that, we have, here it is. Okay, we have Mariam joining us, and tell us where you're from. I couldn't find you on the list. And thanks for raising your hand. Happy New Year.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to wish everyone a season greeting around the world, right? See, we have so many celebrations in many ways and many religions. So we want to say season greetings. My name is Mariam Adam. I'm originally from Tanzania, Kilimanjaro. And we do tourism. And I'm a president chapter for the World Women Leading Change in Canada. So I live in Toronto with my family, but my heart, it is in Africa. It doesn't matter where I live, right? So I was happy to hear about Kenya. I was happy to hear about Uganda and many other parts of the world, sustainability and tourism, and the people who suggest right now about green and sustainable tourism, that's the way to go. And first of all, our brother was talking about how we can be sustainable people to travel safe. It's so important. So I echo what you've been talking about. I've been listening very careful and putting notes, because I traveled the world for many years to promote tourism. So I was in India. I have 10 years visa for India, China. Like I go, and you're 100% right. Our brother from Uganda was talking about if China have issue, you know, like it kind of like spread all over. So we just pray for everywhere in Africa, worldwide, China, it doesn't matter where you are, for peace and healthy, because when people are healthy, we can manage to travel, right? But if somebody have an idea how to travel safe, it's very important, because the person who's healthy in the plane can manage to benefit the other people. But if somebody is unhealthy, one person it take for everything else to and then explode anywhere else.
Hi, Jagan. Hi, just a quick one. I just want to understand how serious you're taking the new COVID variant, which has been identified in India, in China, and how the markets are now. China has decided to open the markets also, and what implications that it might have on tourism. Thank you.
Yeah, that's definitely a good discussion, and we can continue this discussion and exchange on this, even maybe do a separate session, very important, because COVID is not dead, it's mutating, and it might create more challenges, or maybe we're already on top of it. I know people have different opinions. It's good to share this opinion. Thank you very much for this comment, and welcome Mohammed Haroun from Mozambique. Very glad you're joining us. Beautiful country. How are you doing, Mohammed?
Thank you very much, and hi everyone. I just want to say thank you for inviting me to be in this forum, and it's a very beautiful one. I see a lot of friends. I used to be the advisor to the Minister of Tourism. I think I was serving 3 ministers, Sumbana, Muaria, and also lately Dunduru. And I think just I want to say that Mozambique is trying to pick up on the tourism arrivals to the level of 2019, even that we had been hit by several cyclones like Idai and everything that in the central part was very difficult to travel to. But luckily it's recovering mostly with the robust regional and the domestic tourism. And the good news is from this last month, we have been launching the e-visa. I would invite everyone that he wants to come to Mozambique now, he doesn't want to struggle to get the e-visa, just go to our platform of e-visa. I can apply to visit Mozambique. Everyone is welcome to come and visit our parks and our beaches. And also we are trying to improve our infrastructure. I think from the southern part now of region, we have our new bridge that is connecting South Africa, Eswatini, and other neighboring countries very, very easily. And that is just the news I want to say. Even that the rumor of insurgency is under control, everyone can come and visit us, that everything now is still becoming safe. Welcome to everyone, and thank you very much, and congratulations, and prosper New Year's, and happy festivities for everyone. Thank you.
Actually, good evening. I'm Maria Rastvorova, and originally I'm from Ukraine. I work for Kyiv Tourism Department, and I teach tourism in the university. And here I'm presenting our Ukrainian delegation in San X University. And Jeffrey, thank you very much for invitation. And I would like to say some words about the situation on tourism in Ukraine, because we could expect that 222 could have brought a lot of recovery to tourism in Ukraine as well. But as you all know, due to Russian military invasion, we have a very challengeable situation due to the security reasons, and for all the people who live in Ukraine and are in Ukraine, and a lot of tourist facilities are damaged due to Russian occupation. For instance, a lot of natural and heritage tourist resources are somehow destroyed, somehow damaged, and in the same time, in the same time, we remember that in January of 2022 there was the special WTN session about Ukraine. And actually, that was a period when nobody actually, as well, we Ukrainians, we didn't believe that this threat of war is real. And now we are in the end of 22, very close to 2023. And unfortunately, the threat of the war is already the reality. And just I want to mention that still there is tourism in Ukraine, so still the internal tourism exists, and still people in Ukraine they want to have some relaxation in these conditions. And as well, I would like to state our readiness to work for recovery of Ukraine tourism and our strong intention to recover tourism in Ukraine after the war in a sustainable way. So my colleagues who are in Ukraine now, they also want to be here, and they also have the same opinion. And just all of us, we would like to thank all the global tourist community and WTN and SunX and UNWTO for your support, and to move together for advocacy of peace building function of tourism, and hope to meet you in Ukraine after our Ukrainian victory. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Marla. And as you may know, World Tourism Network, we started the Scream.travel campaign together with Ivan Liptuga from the National Tourism Organization of Ukraine. Ivan wanted to join us, but he wasn't sure if he had electricity since he didn't join us. He's in Odessa. He probably didn't have a chance. We also have a MOU with the State Agency of Tourism Development of Ukraine in Kiev. And so we are working with your destination. We had an event right before the invasion where I think the climate was by far more optimistic about tourism. But you guys are going to get back there, and we're here to support you wherever we can. It's a beautiful destination. I personally have many friends in Ukraine, in all parts of Ukraine. And I know one of my friends from Kiev is now in the countryside to get away from all the sirens and everything else. So you guys have your challenges, but I'm sure your country will be back maybe even stronger. And thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. From here, I wanted to give the floor to Luis Gustavo Patricio, and I don't speak Spanish, so sorry. But maybe you can tell us a little bit more about you and where you joining us from.
Yeah, I am Luis Patruco. I am Argentinian, but I live in the south of Brazil. And I think I am the only one from South America in this meeting. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year for everyone. Here in the south of Brazil, the tourism is blooming. It's very impressive how it's happening, what is happening here. We are beginning the season, the tourism season, but it begins in July. Everybody, after 2 years of the pandemic, they are traveling. And there are a great difficult to find reservations in this moment. We receive a lot of people from Uruguay and from Argentina, also in the south of Brazil. So the resilience and the adaptation for the new time is working. I think it's a good example of what we're doing here. We create in a region that is only little entrepreneurs, a cooperative, and in this cooperative, a tour operator who create products for people who live not more than 500 kilometers and who travel by car. All the products are created for this focus, this client. And this is really a very good example how the resilience is going to work in the future in this local tourism. And the key is the creation of this tour operator. Owned by all the entrepreneurs themselves. There are more than 60 people working this. It's a good example. It's working very well. They are learning how to work together in a cooperative way. And I think is a good example for everyone. Okay. It's that Jürgen and Dr. Peter, I follow you more than 20 years. I thank you all that you do for the tourism.
Thank
A
you.
great hug for everyone.
Thank you very much. And Brazil is a beautiful country. I've visited your country numerous times, and it's really designed for tourism and having a good time. Thank you for joining us. The last person, not the last person, but the last person who raises, he is also a good friend. It's Burkhard Herbote. He's joining us from Germany. And I'm sure many of you know Burkhard. If Burkhard is literally what Google is for most of us. If you have any questions about anyone and anything in travel and tourism, you contact Burkhard. He has the answer, he has the connection, he has the largest database in the world in travel and tourism, and he works 24 hours a day. You can call him at 4 in the morning, his time, he's working. And when you go to his apartment, and I've been there, the entire stairwell is full of materials, business cards, you name it. And he has been doing this for quite some time. But Burkhard, thank you very much for joining us. And how's everything in Germany?
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. I hope it will work because I still have a cold here. But okay, my voice is working. Thank you for your introduction. Yes, we know each other since about 20 years, I guess. And I think you are a crazy guy, I'm a crazy guy, and crazy people should meet and should know each other. And all the developments, all the positive developments in the world have been done by people who are mentioned. You are crazy. So let's come to the point. I would like to say I was very glad to have seen here first time Tony Ufungi from Uganda. I connected him with Geoffrey for his online diploma course, Climate Friendly Travel. And also to see here is Sofu, I don't know whether I pronounce him correctly, from Niger. You said this country is very unknown, and you are right. And there are we still have a lot of white places at our planet, and because of different reasons. And of course, Niger is one of this country. And I also know him, and I connected him with Diana McIntyre. I think you know her. She's in Jamaica. She's an expert for community tourism, and she creates a community tourism network in Central Africa. So I'm working a little bit in backstage and connecting people. My job is I'm feeling like being an intercultural architect creating bridges. So, and I think this is a point. Tourism is more than selling tickets. Tourism is more than selling hotel vouchers. Of course we need it, but we need to know, we need to have it in our spirit, in our mind, that tourism is to connect people, to work against prejudice, against other cultures, other religions, whatever. And we need to brand this vision initiated by Lou D'Amour, peace through travel and tourism. So we focus this climate change, but tourism also has in hand to make a political climate change. And of course, not the single travel agent but the World Tourism Network really can be a very important voice. And I hope that the next year's WTN will develop to being a political voice also, not just to have a conference here and there. As you mentioned, you have an office in Bali now with 4 employees. This is a very interesting news. And I think we should have a chapter per continent, maybe, if this is possible in future. So what I would suggest first, Jürgen, is when you have a chance, I don't know whether this meeting chat is gone when you close a conference. If it is not gone for you, so maybe copy this content. There are a lot of very interesting inputs here, some very interesting questions, and we cannot discuss this here today, but if you have a chance, Thomas, please have a look here. And I would like to mention, there was at the very beginning, there was a question of a lady from Grenada, I think the island of Grenada of Caribbean, I guess. She asked, okay, you all speak here about tourism is back and the hotels are full, but is this a success? So the question really is, what is success? It is only figures, especially after these years of COVID, and we are not over. I have the same question marks like Dr. Talib Rifa has, and I think we still at least need 2 more years, and maybe we need another generation to understand what happened here. And I mean, the question is, when we say resilience, does it mean, should it be back like before? Or did we learn something? Did we learn something long-term? And what is not related to COVID? We can change the word COVID into other words, like Tony mentioned, for example, Ebola or whatever. And climate change, catastrophes here and there. What did we learn from this first 3 years from COVID? What is sustainable in the mind of the tourist industry? Is it just we want to be back to sell more tickets, or is it something more? We cannot discuss this now. I just want to leave this here open. And I thank you for your time. I thank you for your engagement here in tourism, and a lot of people like Tony, like Isofu, we don't know these people, but they have really tourism in blood, and they understand that tourism is intercultural exchange, which is a key for peace and intercultural understanding. Thank
you very much, Burkhard. And yes, everything is saved here, and we're also going to replay this event. It's going to be for the next 2-3 days, back to back. If you go to any page at eTurbo News, you can watch us again. And after this, it's going to be archived on our YouTube channel, of course, and also linked from our World Tourism Network website. Well, I think we're coming to an end. We're an hour over our time, but I think that it was fun. At least I enjoyed it, having you all here. And let's hope for all of us, the 2023 will be an excellent year. For those that have not joined us yet as a member, you can easily do this. Go to WTN.travel and click on join, or you can go to WTN.travel/join. And we would love to have you as a member, and then you can get access to a lot of the other features like our chat rooms and so forth. And for those that are reading us at eTurbo News, thank you for reading us. And if you have any feedback, there are always comment sections on all our articles. You can easily leave your comments. And before we go, I see Talib is coming back. So I want to give Talib, as promised, the last word today. But I wish all of you, again, Happy New Year. Enjoy your time off. And let's make 2023 a busy one and a successful one. Because as we have seen, we are resilient. And this is what this industry is. It's an industry of love. I wanted to also had given Ayash Prakash the floor. He is with IIPT in India. And I'm sorry I missed you. So if you hear this, Aya will take over from Louis Damour. and he would be the new person for the Chief for Tourism Initiative. Louis D'Amour started many years ago, IIPT. So we hope to be able to cooperate with IAM and the rest of the IIPT family throughout the years to come. But Taleb, I'm going to put you in the spotlight. You have the last word today, and for everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jordan. Thank you so much. I want to thank WTN for this wonderful meeting. I'm sorry, but I ran out of battery. My iPad ran out of battery, so I'm currently talking to you from my phone now. Your phone may run out of battery also, but it's okay. Now, I wanted to comment a little bit on what our friends from Uganda said and our people from Zanzibar. You know, the minister of Kenya at the time, Jibalala, told me once that during the COVID, he doubled the stock of wildlife animals. It was doubled, actually. So this is one of the advantages of COVID. You know, in Chinese language, the word crisis and the word opportunity are one word. They don't distinguish between that. And there are many opportunities that came out of COVID. One is the sustainability that is associated with it. We heard about over tourism in Spain from our friend from Spain, but nowadays over tourism is not going to be an issue. We are going to limit that. We're going to control that. Now, the other thing is the rise of some of the benefits that came out of COVID, the rise of domestic and regional tourism. In Africa, for example, inter-African travel was not that common, became more common now, even within a country. In Jordan, for example, we had many people from Jordan traveling within Jordan because COVID did not allow them to travel outside. So I just wanted to say this and say that I'm sorry if I disappointed some people by being a bit too pessimistic in the opening. I know that many countries are doing very well now, but that's something that I always wanted to say to people. Please let governments work together, because any government, no matter how good it does, it will not be able to do good on its own. It needs to cooperate with its neighbors to do that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jürgen, once again. Thank you, Peter, for having me.
Thank you very much, Taleb, for your last word. And let me this time also give a very last word. And I want to give the microphone to another colleague and good friend from Jordan. And Mona has been driving me around when I was in Amman, and actually we went to Taleb's house and had some wonderful Christmas bakery and coffee. It was wonderful. Thanks, Mona, for your hospitality. I enjoyed the museum where we saw all the cars, His Majesty, over the years, and amazing. I took some really good pictures, and we're going to do an article on this too. So the very last word for today and our very last Happy New Year greeting would come from Mona Naman. Go ahead, Mona, unmute yourself.
Great. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Sorry, I was delayed. We had a Christmas gathering. Jürgen, you have brought the world together during COVID, and it was such a joy and pleasure to have you in this part of the world on one of your stops. It was great to share with you His Majesty's collection of vehicles, which gives a timeline of Jordan's history. And I'm an optimist. And as Dr. Taleb Rifai was saying, and Jürgen's point of view in tourism, we have to have faith and remember that we're all in this together. We do need the support of the governments, but very, very important, I do believe in the trends of tourism. We all need to tell a story and leave a story behind. So I wish everybody a brilliant 2023, lots of tourism, lots of adventure, and great stories to share amongst each other. And, thank you, Jürgen, for creating this platform. And thank you, Taleb, for being a mentor to most of us on this network. Much appreciated.
Thank you so much, Mona.
Aloha from here. Thanks, Stephen, for joining us. Didn't forget you, but I saw you are joining every event. Okay, you guys have Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year to everybody.
God bless.
All the best, Jagan.
Happy New Year.
Lovely. Thank you, Jürgen. Great.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Ukraine. Okay, bye, Ukraine.